Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to play Dracoslayers with the SHS engine. I have seen some people on YouTube making a video already about Dracoslayer combos, but none of them included the SHS engine, for Masterduel at least. And also none of them were with Promethean Princes, which is a great addition to this deck because we can loop Electromite one time, more than we even would in our usual combo. I have seen some people run Astrograph in Dracoslayers. Why I do agree that it is a good card in the regular version, with SHS it doesn't make any sense at all. Also, we do not play any max C outs like Called by the Grave. Instead of Called by, we have Drawn Lockbird. So you have to make sure that if you suspect your opponent having max C, that you do your searches as early as possible and then draw yourself to play around his maxi. We can actually, with the SHS engine, if we do not get our Omni Negate on the field, still make a decent board, even under Draw and Lockbird, no problem. Because Electromite can actually add to the extra deck and doesn't add to the hand, so we can still search our Orders Revolution Dragon. If you already have one in hand, we can even still make the Omni Negate. Okay, so I think we can just get started. It's quite easy, combo line. Let's just see what kind of hand we draw. Hopefully one with at least Bike and or Wakaushi in hand and a level 4 normal summon, so we can just sort off a combo, and we have drawn such a hand. Nice. Okay, so we can just start off with Bike. Usually I would go Orders Revolution Dragon first here, but we just ignore it, this is in our hand. Simply because we can just bait out one Ash Blossom, obviously. Okay, now we just activate Wakaushi, place Big Bankai. We are not playing any targets for Big Bankai because if we actually search something here, our opponent could have draw. There's one thing. The other thing is, what would we search for? The only thing I can imagine is something like Soul Piercer. And what does Soul Piercer do for us? It adds one Wakaushi from our deck to our hand. So it doesn't really do anything. It's one more body we can, in theory, pen summon. But it's also one more brick in our deck, which we don't really need. So you can add it if you want, but I wouldn't. Okay, so we can just normal summon any of these. I will just normal summon this. Now we go as early as possible into our Ignister, simply because we are assuming that we have no other cards in hand, so there's no other way to play this. Also, I still think this is the best way to play it. Having Ignister as early on the field as possible increases the value of our combo greatly. And even if we just try to play around a possible Imperm, it doesn't matter. If we go for Beyond the Pendulum here, and our opponent actually has the Imperm, we lose either way. It literally doesn't matter. And there's a good chance that you still wait for Beyond the Pendulum and not negate our Ignister. Although most people just negate Ignister, honestly. Okay, so with Beyond the Pendulum, we can now search one Ares Revolution Dragon out of our deck. Now we just summon the two monsters, which we used for Ignister as a synchro material, ignoring the rest in our hand. Okay. The next thing we go for is Electromite. It also doesn't really matter at this point which monsters we summon. Preferably, we should have actually summoned Majesty first, but also doesn't really matter. In case you already have two Revolution Dragons in hand, like we have here, I'm ignoring that this is one Revolution Dragon, I would rather add Ordice Arc Pendulum, but instead we will add another Revolution Dragon, assuming this is no Revolution Dragon. Simply because a Revolution Dragon is more versatile and can still search our Ordice Arc Pendulum if we want to. Okay, now we just go for Ignister Prominence again. Special summoning at this point. The best thing to special summon here is actually Dynamite, simply because we can use it for our Contact Fusion, and it adds one Dracoslayer from our extra deck back to our hand, which is quite decent. Yeah, so let's summon Dynamite. Now we go for Promethean Princess. summoning back Electromite, and this is crucial. Always choose Electromite here, nothing else. Unless you did not use Electromite as a material because we need it later. Okay. Now we can summon Ignista again. Now we can just go for our Link 4, which will remove a Floodgate Promethean Princess contains, basically. Using we want the Pendulum as a Link 1 material. Now we are freed from this restriction and we can just summon Majesty. Okay, so at this point, if we just had 2 cards in hand, but this would be enough actually. We can now just search Secret Village and we discard 1 random card. Whatever we would have drawn into with Electromite. I would just discard Bakaushi here, because we actually drew into that one. Okay, so we just summon this now. Which will add, using Dynamite's effect, 1 Dracoslayer from our extract back to our hand, which is Majesty in this case. Now we can just make Zelantis. Okay. Activating Zelantis' ability, special summon all monsters back. So we can resolve Electromite again and Ignista again. Positioning at this point doesn't really matter, still. If you would play a version with the Firewall engine, the Firewall Dragons, I would definitely look out for your positioning, but in this case it's not a problem. Okay, now we can just destroy this, because we did not use Ignis Phoenix ability yet. Adding back our Orders Revolution Dragon, and now we can activate Ignis Phoenix ability to special summon 1 Dracoslayer. It's crucial that we, at this point, do not use something like Luster, because we need this later on for our Abyss Dweller, part of our import. Even if we would not use it for an XE material, also for Synchros, it would be limited to Dracoslayers, which we can summon with this one. So we definitely have to choose something else, which is fine. We just summon this one. Okay, now we can make our Appaloosa with these. In this case, it's important that we actually choose to treat Electromite as a 2-mat material. We have enough Revolution Dragons in hand in theory, but we only searched 2 of them. One of them was in our starting hand already. Now we will just summon Ignista Prominence from our graveyard back to the field, activate Ordice Arc Pendulum's ability to special summon Dissolver from our deck, activate Dissolver's ability to fuse with our scale, get it on negate on the field. Okay, now we can summon 1 more Dracoslayer from our deck. Now we can make Abyss Dweller. And we added this Majesty back from our extra deck to our hand, so this is also fine. Still 2-card combo. And we have Hope Harbinger and Secret Village Lock. Absolutely disgusting. Okay, so first of all, our opponent cannot attack over our Appaloosa because there is Hope Harbinger, which is a battle price protection. Not once per turn, by the way. We can just remove 1 XE material to choose the attack target. So he cannot attack over our Majesty, he cannot attack over our Appaloosa, so he's definitely going to be on the Secret Village Lock, and we will have to deal with our 3 monster negates. Also, Abyss Dweller in the current meta is really strong, and we still got 1 Omnigate just in case. This is our basic M board with just 2 cards. This deck actually runs a ton of hand traps, so in case you would have drawn any, this is additional disruption for your opponent, obviously. Yeah, this is the basic combo you can go for. You do not need the SHS engine to perform this combo, basically. You can do this with your basic Dracoslayer build as well. The only requirement there really is that you can search during your combo line 2 Ordice Revolution Dragons without using Sky Arrows, and then you can still get the Secret Village Lock on the field. Also, another requirement, you need enough cards to destroy in your pendulum zones. So in case you with Beyond the Pendulum search something else, like let's say you already got one Aerodis Revolution Dragon in your hand, and you used it to search another Dracoslayer. There's one card called Odysseus, which can add your Aerodis Revolution Dragon from your graveyard back to your hand. But if you do that, Odysseus destroys itself, and we have one less card in our Pendulum scales to actually destroy. So we cannot perform the combo anymore. It's simply that. At that point, we need to draw into another scale, or otherwise our endboard will be weaker, because the Promethean play does not work like we did it before. We actually, in that case, would have to reborn Ignista instead of our Electromite, because there was no benefit in going for Electromite, because there was nothing to destroy on the field. So, yeah, there's that. Very unfortunate, but yeah, this is how you play this deck, basically. Quite simple. Once you get the basic setup with your Ignista Prominence, it's a straightforward combo line. We can just do it again. It's not too complicated. Because it's one of these Pendulum decks that actually is linear as soon as you can get the basic combo done. So this is the same combo again, basically. There's no different. In this case, I will just try to get as much value out of the hand as possible, so you can see how you would play this hand optimally. Okay. Do this again. And we're completely safe here. Like, if our opponent actually has an Imperm for our Ignista Prominence, it's fine. We can still just Pendulum summon, and we have one Odysseus in our hand, which can actually add an Odysseus Revolution Dragon back to our extra deck. Or even better, what we could do is just use Odysseus Revolution Dragon's search ability to search for another Pendulum scale. So we can still keep our Odysseus in our hand, which will then, in the end, after we resort one scale, add Odysseus Revolution Dragon back to our hand. So we don't even lose anything. Okay, at this point, just summon Majesty or something. Don't resolve her yet, though. If you notice a disruption at this point, you can try to resolve her as a bait. Otherwise, if you do not notice any disruption at all, I would not resolve her. The reason why is that we want to play around Nibiru. We already got one Odysseus Revolution Dragon in our hand, so with Sky Iris we can just pop one of our scales, and if our opponent actually had Nibiru, we can destroy one of our scales, reborning Ignista Prominence back from our graveyard, so we have enough materials on the field to play afterwards. Also we got Odysseus, which is very good in this situation, because we can simply, after destroying two scales on our field, just resolve Arc Pendulum's ability. Arc Pendulum will then summon the Solar from our deck, and with Ignista Prominence, which can also summon a Dracoslayer from our deck, we still got two materials on our field, so we can still make Electromite and play. No problem. Just add another Odysseus Revolution Dragon here. At this point you can now activate Majesty's ability, because you notice if your opponent actually has Nibiru or something. If he has a disruption which lit up at the point we summoned Beyond the Pendulum, which is our fifth summon, we would search for Skyrus here. Otherwise, what is the greatest value at this point? Just search for Secret Village. And you notice, at this point, we actually got one Odysseus Revolution Dragon, which we just searched using Beyond the Pendulum. But what would we discard at this point? We could just discard our Odysseus Revolution Dragon, returning our Odysseus, using Odysseus and then returning Odysseus Revolution Dragon back to our hand. It doesn't really make a difference. However, there is something that is beneficial if we do it that way. Because if our opponent actually has DD Crow, we can just force out his DD Crow by discarding the Odysseus Revolution Dragon at this point. Because we don't really care. If he DD Crows our Odysseus Revolution, we are fine. If he DD Crows our Ignista Prominence, we simply lose. So this is why I would discard Odysseus Revolution Dragon here. Over we go -1. Still the better play, I think. Okay. Now we just go for Electromite. And we can add Odysseus Arc Pendulum here. Why? Because we would search for that card anyway. It doesn't really matter. We already got 2 Odyssey Revolution Dragons accessible to us, so we definitely will be able to make the Omni Negate already. And I would rather keep 1 copy of Odyssey Revolution Dragon in my deck. Okay, yeah, we can just resolve it now. That's fine. Just add another Vakaushi for follow-up. Now we can just activate our Odysseer. Add back Revolution. Activate Revolution Dragon. Special summon, Ignis the Prominence. Now we just special summon Dynamite for a Contact Fusion. Usually you don't need Exceed the Pendulum, because you get enough materials for Zelantis already. There are some cases where she actually makes sense, but this is none of them. As long as you have the Super Heavy engine accessible, there is no need for her. Okay. And guess what we are doing now? He is coming back. Since we already used Majesty's ability, we can now special summon just about any Dracoslayer. Since we still have 2 of these in our deck, and I want to keep at least 1 copy of them, of each, I will just choose this one, adding Majesty. We can go for Zelantis. Activate Zelantis ability. Special summon Electromite. And Zelantis. Bring back Nista and our fusion. Okay. In this case, we special summon Ignis Phoenix, because we did not yet use his ability special summon from the deck. It's just for free. Activate this ability. Special summon just about any Dracoslayer, just not Luster. Now we can make Appaloosa and actually treat Electromite as 1 material. Because we have 2 Revolution Dragons in our hand. It seems like a waste, because we can just get 1 more Monster Negate out of it, but believe me, there is not more possible. The reason why is quite simple. Our extra deck is tied, so we cannot run an infinite amount of cards, obviously. And we need some for going second, or just as general outs. We cannot just make a pure going first deck, which it already is to some degree, to be honest. Okay. Whenever you're summoning monsters in this deck, using Odyssey Revolution Dragon, you should look out for your opponent's extra monster zones, because I would play around Relinquished if you can. Since we use this as an XC material later, we can put it right under our opponent's extra monster zone, making no Barbinger again. There we go. Absolutely disgusting. Again. 1 more Monster Negate and even draw a Lockbook in hand. Funnily enough, he cannot even negate our draw, because the only auto draw is called by, and he cannot activate called by. Okay, and that concludes the video. If you have any more questions, please ask them in our comments. Yeah, I guess, see you.